All right, so we are ready for advanced sculpture. We are going to start talking about making copper trees. So those bundles of wires you've got. And we're going to switch video real quick. Boop. Hey there. So this is, so let me get this in there. This is an older copper tree that I made a while ago. It's just twisted leftover wire. And you can see twisted through the core. I left some for roots, and I left some for branches. And the nice thing is you can kind of set them around. You can bend them over things to set them on there. If we want, you don't have to. This guy, I used a little bit of wall patch plaster. So it's pretty inexpensive. And then I painted it with some acrylic paint and then used some model flocking, though it's gotten beat up, to make like for the canopy. So there's a tall one. And I have this little short one. Move that guy out of the way. And he also has some of the same thing. Just kind of painted over, a little bit of flocking so the branches actually hold up the leaves. And you can see bend in the trunk, so it kind of looks a little bit like a big bonsai tree. And then you could set it out to be any way you want. So to do that, move those out of the way. I've got a couple of tools and my wires. And depending on which kind of wire you have, we're going to talk about that. And I have an X-Acto knife. I also have a pair of little snips because I left my wire strippers. And I have this small round pair of pliers, but any pair of pliers will help you. So basically we're looking for strand copper. And this is an insulated, all wiring is insulated, but this has a heavier, thick insulation. So it's actually being kind of a pain to get through. See if I can get that to focus better. So this really kind of thick plastic. This is Cat5 cable, and this is what runs your Ethernet and your computers or your phone lines. Actually, this is phone line wire because there's only 4 strands to it. And if you notice, there's a copper line in with the color strands. So what I'm going to do is first I want to cut my casing. And I'm using my X-Acto knife and I'm being real careful. I have a cut mat down so I don't damage my stuff. And just going to kind of press it in. And on the standard wire, it's going to slice right through the casing. Go to my end. Put my cap back on. And when I put my cap on, I lost my cut line. There it is. Well, there it was. So all you gotta do is just kind of peel that back. Now, this is a piece of solid copper. You can see the plastic stops right where I stopped cutting. If my plastic folds over, so see how this light blue section, the plastic's actually folded over. I need to recut that to peel it off. The solid piece, if you have a solid piece of scrap, it's going to be great to make the trunk and wrap around, but really it's not going to do a lot for what we want. We want this strand wire more than we want a solid core piece. So I grab that one. If you have one of the carpenter's knives, carpenter knives works very well to do this too. Again, you just want to make sure nothing is in the way that you want cut, that you don't want cut, like fingers, desk. And that's that heavy insulated wire again. So I use this guy. I'll finish cutting this. So really if it does this, I'm just going to cut through that. I can just peel and strip. A lot of the computer wires or phone wires are going to have these little cable pieces in there. Basically, they're tagged so you can pull it, or you can leave this in to pull through the next wire. So we're going to get rid of those. Keep that in my little scrap pile. The plastic sleeve, we're going to get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. My other wires out of the way. What I want to do is, so I have roughly 12 inches of wire here. And I'm going to just kind of twist this together a little bit. And the twist, you can take, and if you want to, you can use something to help you with the twist if you want to make it really tight. So I'm just going to loop it around. You can loop it around a pen. You can torque it a little bit. You can loop both ends around. But I want to get that kind of center core here to be nice and a tight braid. Because I'm going to work on these. These are going to become what ends up becoming my roots. And what I'll do is I'll twist this together a little bit. And then I'm going to eventually untwist these wires, because every one of these is more than one wire. So I want to twist that apart, and those will become small roots, or I can start them together, and then I can slowly bring another wire in if I want to, but eventually this will lead out to be the end root. I'm gonna do the same here. All I did was fold this end over, twist these guys around. See if I turn that off, if that helps. And then I just want to make sure I twist this together. And then these ends here I'll cut. And I could use the X-Acto knife, but I'll use these wire snips. How'd you guys' weekends go?
It went good, but it was pretty boring.
Pretty boring?
Yeah.
It's gonna get a little bit more boring.
Yeah, especially since he's shutting everything down.
Yes.
I think Kyle forgot how to talk.
No, I just don't have anything to say. I woke up like 10 minutes ago.
So the idea behind having roots is just like a real reason why a tree has roots is you want this to counterbalance that. So I'm just going to lay these out right now. I'm not going to twist them anymore. One of the things I do want to do is I'm going to bring this guy back a little bit. So see me working him back towards that center so that I have a pretty solid base for it to stand on. If I don't, it's going to want to tilt. Now up here, I have these branches. And I'm going to start to split. And we're going to split here and twist. I'm going to split here and twist. And then this is going to start the, so this becomes the trunk of my tree. This becomes the branches of my tree. I can add more copper to this to add twisting and to add things around. But at this point, I've got my base start. It's bouncy, but it's a base start. And at this point, I want to start to think of what kind of tree am I making? And to me, you know, it's great to have a nice straight tree. The one I showed you was a straight tree, but really, this is going to lend itself better. So I'm going to pop over here real quick, do a screen share. And I'm going to look up bonsai trees. The reason is because they're manufactured, as the tree grows, you have to slowly warp it into its place. And let's see, and they come in a couple different styles. I want to hit real because I don't want to have fake bonsai. You see how the trunk twists up, and then it's meticulously groomed. They use copper to wrap around it, so as it grows in specific patterns. And when you really look at it, it has such a nice kind of movement to it that this is sort of what we're looking for. We're doing a personal made kind of bonsai tree. Now, you don't have to do a bonsai tree. I just think that the way the wire twists together, it reminds me a lot of how most of these guys look. But you can make any kind of tree you want. So we're going to switch cameras back. It's me again. What we're really going for here is I want you to take something that we see on a daily basis, trees, and something that we kind of take for granted, and we're going to bring attention to those by making these miniature sculptures. Any scrap wire can do. So if you've got scrap wire around the house, you can add that in. If you want to try to add some other things to it that you think might bend, like pipe cleaners would work, you could try to find some other things through. If you've got like old speaker wires, if you have old any type of cord, you can make sure it's unplugged. You can cut it apart and you can try to use some of those wires. Don't chop up your lamp cords because I don't want your parents mad at me. But the idea is you're making something that's kind of unique. You want to think of, like, as the tree grows, how does it move? How do you want to demonstrate it? Are you trying to do anything like a twist through it, or are you trying to have it sway to one side and then come back the other? If you get too far off balance, you may have to do something to counterweight it, like find a little rock from outside, and then you can use a little hot glue to glue it in place. Though try to keep the hot glue to a minimum. You can use dirt while the hot glue is still liquefied. You can sprinkle some dirt in to help hide that. You could use aquarium rocks if you need to, whatever you've got at hand. I just want you to take the wire and start twisting things together and try to make a nice little tree. This also kind of goes back to the idea of an armature, but instead of it being just an internal skeletal structure for a piece, you're actually using the armature as part of the art. Is there questions about what we're doing?
Do we have to use like any of the polymer clay on it or no?
Nope. As a matter of fact, the idea is when you're all done, and I forget when I used to just start doing these because I worked as an electrician part-time, and I would keep all the scrap stuff. So I'm going to go back to this guy here. Is you just want to kind of build these out. And the one time I was kind of working on these, my mother-in-law saw them and she's like, oh my gosh, that's the most beautiful thing ever. So she has a couple of them that I would make and just give to her just to kind of practice like different shapes and forms. So you can see this is normal strand wire. And this is actually, so the core is two pieces twisted together. And then I decided I needed a bigger structure. So I added a third piece around it and it made it this kind of knotty existence. When it's all done, this is naturally aging. So it's a natural patina. The oil from my skins has interacted with the copper and it's leaving it, and you can see where it's starting to turn. The places that I touched it the least has a shinier kind of, better looking copper. And the places that I touched a lot or where dust has started to settle, it's starting to get a different style patina to it. Eventually, it'll probably turn into this dull, like dirty penny look to it. I could take some ammonia and I could put this like in a bag with ammonia and I could change it to a greenish Statue of Liberty patina. I have a great book that has a whole bunch of other things if we want to try to experiment with some household chemicals and Ziploc bags, and we could try to make some different colors. on the trees. But really, all we're doing is we're making a tree. See if I can get in better. Does that help you guys? Maybe if I turn off that light. If you wanted to, if you really want to, what I did for these guys, this has just if you have any plaster dust from plaster bandages that we use at school, or this was actually wall compound. So when you're doing drywall or fixing drywall, because again, I used to fix up people's drywall back when I needed lots of money as a Catholic teacher. And it's just a little bit of a paste that I pull out, and I just work it through the wire. I just kind of fill in these gaps. And that's why you can see kind of the wire strands in here, but it looks smoother. You're not getting the full wire texture. You're getting some of it. And then this is just really quick, cheap acrylic paint. And same with that guy. So I just put that in. I actually broke down the wall putty with some water so it became a little bit more liquidy. And then this is just railroad flocking. So like you can see the hot glue where it used to stick. You can use hot glue or Elmer's glue to do that. But then it looks like that's the shape of a bonsai tree. But that's an option. You don't have to do that. That's if you're, sitting around bored and you want something to do.
Do you want all the copper to be or all the materials that we use for like the tree to be the same color?
No. So Kyle's question is, do the materials have to be the same color? Definitely not. So the one, oops, sorry about that. The one, the phone wire that I have, it helps if I keep on the right camera. The phone wire that I have here, you can see all the different colors inside of it. And if you have phone wire, you sure can. The idea is, the reason we use the copper wire is it's soft enough that you can easily bend it with your hands, but it'll stay in the position that you put it in. And if you drop it, it might bend a little bit and you can just put it back. So both of those, actually all of those have probably been, thrown in boxes and moved around and kind of bent up. They're not super, I don't cherish them that much, I guess. So I use them. And I think the idea behind it is we're making a sculpture and you're deciding how is that sculpture going to look and feel. And if you have colorful wire, you have colorful wire. And how do you play that colorful wire into it? Are you going to pull it so that only certain colors go together? Are you going to mix and match colors? Are you going to be upset by the color and try to peel off the plastic coating so the copper exposes? If you want to patina it, you'd have to have copper wire exposed. You can't patina the plastic coating. Any other questions?
For the cardboard project, like when we turn it in, is there going to be like a link that we post the pictures in on Wednesday?
For the cardboard project, make sure when you turn it in that you get pictures from all views. So if it's supposed to sit on a table, take pictures all the way around it and above it. If it's supposed to be freestanding, but you don't have a place to hang it or stand it, or if it's a little unstable, then take pictures all the way around and all the way around so that I get a view of it from every angle. I'm not going to ask you to throw a ruler in. We're not worried about size. How's that?
Good.
I mean, if it looks like it's only yay big and it took you 2 weeks, then I might be a little like, hey, that's the best you can do. But because when you guys all left, they were at least a foot to 16 inches. So unless something drastically has happened to it.
I don't think I have any other questions.
So Sarah says she's good. Kyle, you good?
Yeah.
All right, guys. So Wednesday, what we'll do is I will work on a copper tree from this guy, and I will start to build something up, and we'll go over a little bit more hands-on, and we'll talk about where we are and what difficulties we're having and any questions. Wednesday will probably be like a 10-minute session. Make sure you take pictures of your progress. And if you need anything, you can always email me or message me or all that kind of stuff. Cool?
Okay.
I did cool already today once. I should come up with another cool message. Maybe I'll put a green screen behind me and you guys can see funny things in the background.
Yeah, that'd be interesting since my mom won't let me go anywhere. So
I'll work hard on making it interesting.
thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Then if you got nothing else, you have a good day. And I will catch you guys on Wednesday unless you need me before then.
Okay.
All right.
See you then.
Sounds good. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.